Many years ago, I fell in love. It started with words that formed sentences and filled pages, becoming books and novels. My love grew to include numbers, biology, philosophy, social sciences, and continues still to flourish. Outside of these walls, I'm still a student, and I always will be, because I will never lose my passion for learning. And it started with words. I learned to read when I was 2.5 years old. There was nothing else for a kid to do in Shreveport, Louisiana. My parents were in residency, so I spent my days with my Iranian grandparents, who spoke to me almost exclusively in Farsi, tossing some English in here and there. After their hours at the hospital, my parents would pick me up, take me home, and read with me. Every night we would read together, and eventually I learned to do so on my own. The first book I remember adoring was a book about space. It was a big book, written textbook style with lots of pictures of the planets and the stars. It sparked my love of science. Soon, I began to play with microscopes, telescopes, and chemistry sets, and I read and I read and I read. Elementary and middle school were filled with book after book, and I imbibed knowledge from the world around me as I grew older, realizing I wanted to spread this love of learning to the community around me. When I was in 10th grade, a few friends and I started a club at Sage Creek called Leaders in Literacy. We started out thinking we would teach young kids at Calavera Hills Elementary School how to read. So I contacted an old teacher of mine, and we began working out the details. The club switched tracks a little bit, and our new mission was to encourage kids to read, engage them in their learning, and spark a love for education in them. The program began meeting once a week in my 3rd grade teacher's classroom, reading to and with 1st and 2nd grade students. Junior year came around, and the teacher we worked with at Calavera was no longer able to host our club. So we reached out to the Carlsbad Educational Foundation's Kids Care After School program at Pacific Rim Elementary School. We met with kindergartners every Tuesday and started drawing with them in addition to the reading. Their art allowed them to personalize some aspect of the book or topic, and we gave them the option of keeping their drawings or giving them to me to take home. My initial plan for my Genius project was to create a book of all the drawings the students let me take, to publish it online, sell it to community members and to parents, and donate the funds to the Carlsbad Educational Foundation. Week after week, however, less than half of the kindergartners would relinquish their art to me. And the process of publishing and selling the book turned out to be far more complex than I'd ever imagined. So, for a little while, I gave up. Not on the club, of course, or on its mission, but on the idea that my club could be anything more than a tiny, quiet organization with a small reach and a small impact. I figured we were already making at least somewhat of a difference, at least to those 20 kids we worked with every week. But I always wanted to reach more people, to impact more young members of the community. So when senior year began, I brainstormed ways to do so. Naturally, I waited until college application season was over before I set my plan to expand Leaders in Literacy into motion. But by mid-January, I had arranged after-school reading programs at Calavera Hills, Pacific Rim, Hope, and Kelly Kids Care. Meeting every week on Monday through Thursday, we now work with over 100 elementary school students, each of which will be getting an entire booklet of every drawing they've done at our meetings at the end of the school year. In addition to becoming more engaged in their reading and learning, the students are creating something by which they and their parents can remember this portion of their lives. They're never too eager to part with their drawings, but when I remind them that they'll be getting an entire booklet of all their work in just a few short months, they always seem to brighten up. If you are truly passionate about something, it doesn't feel like work. During the week, almost all of my free time is devoted to this club, whether it's meetings, organization, planning, or communicating. I've grown to notice, however, that I don't mind spending my time this way at all. I love working with the kids. I love picking out books for them, giving them drawing prompts, helping them choose colors and spell words. Because of my passion to spread that love of learning I found so long ago, I was able to recognize that even when my original project fell through, that I still wanted to stick with this project and somehow make that bigger impact. Because I loved the project so much, no obstacle could stop me from reaching my goal. My journey brought me to working with 4 elementary schools, pitching to dozens of peers, welcoming almost 30 new members, which is a lot in a high school club, meeting over 100 elementary school students, and spending about 6 hours per week with our new students and our new volunteers. But my journey brought me something far more important than all these facts and figures. Something real. A few more places to visit when I fly home from college. 100 new smiling faces in my life. Faces I look forward to seeing every day after school. Faces that never fail to make me laugh or to make my heart melt when they run over to give me a hug or when they shout goodbye. My journey brought me to something that gave high school a deeper meaning than just a stepping stone on my way to university. It gave me something to pour my heart and my soul into. And though I know the club will continue to meet long after I graduate, it gave me something that will be beyond difficult to leave behind. And it all started with words. Thank you.